So what the whole spirit of this is, support your local theater. Your most local.
Hey everybody, this is Molly Stone, Associate Director of Live Performance at Catamoment Arts, coming to you still from my home office. And as you know, things are taking a turn for the dark months, and we are still keeping our doors shut to keep all of us safe. So if we hunker down and keep doing what we need to do, we will be back together again in no time. But in the meantime, we have some special things for you, one of which is First Night North, the virtual version. And this will be coming to you on December 31st, 2020, and it will be an 8-hour program that will air on Kingdom Access Television. And it'll also be streamed online elsewhere, and that information will be up on our website soon. So please visit catamomentarts.org and click on that First Night North website or that tab, and you'll find the information there. Now, this has been a process for us all. We are live performance presenters. We don't generally present 8 hours of virtual programming. So we've been learning a lot, and I do hope that you join us on December 31st and check out all of the local musicians and some of the artists that you've seen over the years coming together to make this program possible. And thank you to all the sponsors that have come on board to help us make this a reality. Also coming up is something extremely special in that we generally, every 2 years, we stage Natalie MacMaster and Donnell Leahy and their family for Celtic Family Christmas. Now, they were slated to be in Vermont this year, and obviously that's not happening. So their entire tour was canceled in Canada, and of course it's canceled here in the US. Now, those of you who have seen the MacMaster and Leahy children on stage know that it is a tradition to see them perform every holiday season. So this year is not going to be different. It's going to be different, but we're still going to have them. So Natalie MacMaster and Donnell Leahy and their 7 children are going to join us on screen for a virtual at-home Celtic Family Christmas. And to watch this, you can go to our website, catamomentarts.org, and click on the banner for the Celtic Family Christmas show, and it'll take you to the site where you can buy tickets. Now, I conducted an interview with Natalie and Donnell just a couple of days ago to talk about how and why they're doing it this way. And we talked about the details of, or the logistics of this show and why they matter so much right now. I cannot emphasize enough how much this creative sector is a system of moving parts. And right now, we have been hit extremely hard. There are no live performances indoors right now, especially up here in the Northeast. And we've been shut down since the summer when it comes to live performance. So we have to be creative. And what Natalie and Donnell have done is extremely creative. And it also benefits not only them as artists, working artists whose livelihood has stopped in its tracks, but it also supports the venues that would have been presenting them this year. So they have over 60 venues that will be airing this Celtic Family Christmas throughout the month of December in the US and Canada, and they will also air it in Europe as well. And so what you do is you go on their website, you find your closest venue, and you buy your ticket, and part of the proceeds go to that venue, and the other part goes to the artists themselves. So this is highlighting the fact that we are a creative system together, and that we need to remain viable and we need to survive the winter, all of us together, in order to support the artists that travel through our areas and depend on us and us having our doors open. So please go to catamomentarts.org and click on their Celtic Family Christmas banner and get your tickets, and that will help support us and them. So without further ado, here is my interview with Natalie and Donnell. Before we even get started, I want to talk about why this even came about. I mean, and it's really obvious. COVID-19 is international, it's affecting everyone, and it's affecting the creative sector more than everybody else. So this came about out of COVID-19 pushed you to this. So can you tell me a little bit about your thought process going into planning this virtual tour?
Sure. Okay. Well, yeah, when my tour got canceled in March, I came home off of it early for all the same reasons that the rest of the world was getting shut down at the same time. And it was a scary time, and we were so grateful. I was so grateful to get home with my family and just be together, because it was really scary. Now we're getting, I suppose, a little more savvy to how to handle it and how to protect ourselves and all that, so you get a little more confident. But it was a time of, I don't know, fear, I guess, but also great gratitude for what you do have. And after the first month passed, Donnell and I were like, okay, we've got to do something now. Like, we don't know how long this is going to last for. And we ended up doing a pile of like goodwill things from the house. We were just getting tons of requests for like birthday greetings to people who couldn't get out for their birthday, and seniors residences, and all sorts of different groups of people that were doing online means of getting together and connecting. And then after that flurry settled down, Donnell and I got really musical. We started writing lots of music. We started developing pieces for recording, collaboration ideas. We had this huge creative surge. And that's when Donnell, it was mostly Donnell here that started, talking to the agents and finding out, yes, our Christmas tour, which was going to be very extensive in Canada, was going to be canceled. And it was Donnell, and you can tell Molly about this, but it was really Donnell who got into that idea. Now, before that particular idea, which we'll explain, came about, we just really felt the urge to, like, we don't want to roll over here and wait till things change. We really want to be proactive, and we want to figure out a way to stay making music, to keep our talents that we've been honing for, really, between the two of us, it's been over 80 years of playing music. And we just didn't want to like flatten that out. As you know, being a musician, you have to stay engaged in that. You can maybe take a week off, but you got to keep it going. And it's a passion, you can't just shut it off. Then Donnell got to thinking. What did you think, honey?
Well, one thing, another realization is that, we just had to plug ourselves into our lives. We had our lives, our touring lives, our creative lives, and we were always playing music, always having to learn something, always practicing without even trying. We always had a social, or our social was we were always on tour, or when we were on tour, there was always a beer after the show or a dinner, and all of a sudden it all leaves, and you realize we don't even have an audience. We don't have a reason to play. It's hard to practice. We have to create activity for the kids. And so anyway, we just heard about all the theaters in trouble, and agencies and crew people, and we just had this idea of doing a virtual show, and naturally we would sell it on our website. We thought, wouldn't it be cool to engage the industry, engage the theaters, give them a reason to be able to have a voice in their community, give them something to do, because they're out of money and staff, and so this is just an idea. Hey, let's just do this like we normally would. We'll go through the theaters. If you want to purchase a ticket, you have to purchase it through a theater. And it gives, as I said, the theaters, a chance to maybe have a voice in their community, get sponsors, get donations, stay active. Maybe this will, end shortly, and this will be kind of a bridge to that. So that was the idea, and we've had a great time, delving into this and diving in, and we have 60
plus, yeah.
60 plus theaters, not including Europe. So it's been great, and thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
That was quite a ramble.
No, it was a no-brainer. I mean, as you know, I wear many hats, and you just spoke to several things that impact me personally, and impact other venues in Vermont. And I want to mention that there's 3 venues that are going to be airing this show around Vermont. And that's Chandler Center for the Arts, the Flynn Center, and then KCP Presents, which is us. And as you said, it has been disastrous for venues and presenters, us included. You know, all of our staff was on furlough, laid off, unemployment, and I'm sure that is the same across the board. And we've been getting together as a Vermont creative sector. The Vermont Creative Network has been bringing us all into the same virtual room and trying to come up with ideas to stay, you know, ahead of this, to be more creative than we've ever been before, and just trying to stay viable. And that's why your idea is just absolutely brilliant. And I can't wait. And I want to speak to all of the folks watching, not just your fans, and not just, you know, fans of your music, but all the folks out there who are trying to present the arts. You know, this is just one example of the way that we can do it going forward. And I think it's just dead brilliant. And as you mentioned, I counted up 57 venues on your website, and you have 60 and then plus Europe. But so I wanted to just ask you about the details of this show in terms of how one would go about getting a ticket. I actually just went through the process of going through the system to get a ticket for our own show that we will be presenting virtually on December 12th. But can you chat a little bit about how people make that choice? How do they make the choice as to which show to go to virtually?
Yeah, so firstly, it's new for everybody. When we started with this idea, it was new for the theaters, it's new for us, it's new for people buying a show virtually. How do I do it? And it's we went and bought a ticket as well, and my mother-in-law bought a ticket just to
go through the process.
And you know, it can be confusing. So the first thing is, the question was how to go about buying a ticket. Was that what you asked?
How do you decide, like, what, what venue?
So what the whole spirit of this is, support your local theater. Your most local. You know, so there's different dates and different times. If you can support your local theater, buy the ticket from there. If you, there are people writing us saying, we don't live anywhere near any theaters, we can't watch the show. And it's like, yes, all you need is the internet and a computer, and you can watch the show. So
pick any theater.
Pick any theater, but the one closest to you is what we encourage. This is a, you know, help your own type of thing. When you simply find that theater. So if it was
Burlington,
you said Vermont. If it was Burlington or your theater, you click on there, and then it'll take you to a page where you buy your ticket, and it can be a little confusing. And I'm not a computer guy at all, but you have to basically create an account.
Unless you have Gmail.
If you have Gmail, you can go in there and it'll set you up right away. But if you don't have that, you have to create an account, which involves a password and
creating an account was super easy because I did it. It's just a password and like, what's your name thing.
Yep. It's kind of what we are used to these days, going through all the virtual hoops as of late to get into things. I'm so glad to hear you say that in that way, Donnell, that the spirit of it is to support your local theater. You know, if there wasn't one close to you, you can pick whichever one you want. But the spirit of it is to support, by supporting your local theater, be it KCP Presents in St. Jay, the Flynn Center in Burlington, or the Chandler Center for the Arts in Randolph. If any of those 3 venues in Vermont were to close their doors permanently, that would be a huge, awful thing for first of all, artists like yourselves who route through all of those venues. And so if you look at it as a larger circuit of venues that are all connected, and you can talk, I would love to hear you speak on your experiences touring, but for any touring artists, they hit all those venues and they have a show every single night, as you know, sleeping on a bus with children. If we lose any of those, that is going to make it so much harder for you folks and other folks to continue this work. So let's end with a little bit of just chat about how important it is for folks to support their theaters. And if it's not theirs in their backyard, support one that's not in your backyard. It's still important.
Mention, like, you know, the life it breeds into the community. Like the reason, the life it gives to give people a reason to, I hope you're still there, Molly, I lost you for a second. Yeah, you know, to go to a restaurant beforehand, before a show. Yeah. Like to go to the bar after the show. Like there's a lot of spin-offs. I mean, it's a massive deal. I try not to think of it too much because it's so grand a thought, what you just suggested could happen, that it's not good for me to think about. But no, it's the arts. It's when Donnell and I got married, the priest said to us, there are two things in this world that are eternal: music and love. And I think of that all the time. I think of music. I think of the years of visiting people or playing for sick people or anything, not even healthy people, whatever. The letters that we have gotten in the multitudes, in so many varieties of people saying the music does more than words can, than medicine can. You know, it's just another language that speaks to the soul. And the arts community is that on a whole, and it is something that we have to that's a part of who we are as human beings, and yeah. These venues are what are the outlet for a lot of that, and it's crucial to humanity, I think. One don't thing, oversay it, but
one
it
thing
is.
that I would add to all of this is I got to talk to theaters. We don't talk to theater very much. We have agents, and you know, it's all booked, and there's someone between us and the theaters. And on this project, I got involved with some of the theaters just to talk to them. And man, they're great people. They're so much like us.
It's me.
You know, they're the same. They're trying to do their thing. So what I also would love to start, and it's, you know, the show's starting soon, but you know, if you can, there's people in the community that probably need a ticket for whatever reason. They can't afford it. They need some culture. They need something. You know, people could give a ticket. You know, I really think that's a great thing to be able to, you know, someone you think needs this, or for whatever reason, you know, it's buy a ticket for them. I really think that's a really community-minded thing. When we're doing our Christmas tour this year, we kind of had this idea, our charity idea, and it was do what you can. And some of us can write big checks, and some of us can provide food to your neighbor. Some people can walk someone across the street or smile. If everybody just did what you can, you know, even a smile goes such a long way. So it would change. It could change everything. I tell my little ones, you know, this is that, you know, if I go to a sporting event, I could change the outcome of that game just by helping somebody or smiling, because it just affects so many people along the way. It only has to affect one of those players who sees something different in the audience, you know? So if people could do what you can, if someone needs a little ticket or needs a little boost, it's no problem to donate a ticket to them.
And I think that's a great gesture, and we will promote it on our end. And when you're talking about dealing with the venues, that's myself as well, wearing the several hats that I wear. And so it's such a nice thing to get to know artists like yourselves and know your touring life intimately, and then you knowing the presenters and what they do in return, and the work and the staff that sits behind them and supports them. So I think that what you're doing this holiday season represents a lot more than just a virtual show that people can click play on. It's speaking to my soul as I'm feeling moved right now talking to you both about this, because it does capture all sides of this intricate puzzle that depends on all the pieces being in place for this to continue. So coming around for a full circle here, I so love what you're doing. I hope others do the same, and I wish you so much success this holiday season. But I also hope that I can join you two and all the family again in person next year.
Yes, Molly, we'll hope for that. Absolutely.
Yep.
There's nothing There's nothing like being right there.
Nothing like seeing your glittery shirt right in person. Well, tell all those children that I said hello, and on behalf of Catamount Arts and all of the venues in Vermont, the entire Vermont creative sector, I want to say thank you and wish you all the best and stay well.
Thanks, Molly.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
My sincerest thanks to both Natalie and Donnell for taking time to chat with me. And my thanks to you, all of you out there who are doing the work and having so much patience with us and supporting us through the live auction that was online this year, and supporting us by joining us on First Night on December 31st. That event is completely free, but if you feel like making a donation to Catamount Arts, you can do that by going to our website or giving the box office a call. All right, until I see you next time, please stay well and happy holidays.
Catamount Arts would like to thank these sponsors for their continued support.
Well, it's okay. That's my laundry in the background. I'm gonna go move the laundry.